Hey everyone, welcome back, and this is Alex again with a Guild Wars Corner. Now, last week I did a video review of the skill Mending, and it looked like it was pretty well received, at least as far as a format of the video goes, and I was pretty pleased how it came out, especially given the fact that it was kind of a first attempt at doing something like this, and of course I chose one of the most controversial skills and probably in the game, which is Mending, as I mentioned, and it's a pretty unique skill. It's not one that's really used. You're never going to find it on the meta and things like that. And what I tried to do in the video was to find if there were cases where there would be a good use for it, or what the scenario would be to use it, what not to use it, which was pretty clear early on in the video. There was, it's not an anti-spike type of spell. It's just a heal over time that you put on and turn off. So it was a good video. I thought it came out pretty well, at least format wise, and I like to do some more videos, probably with skills that are not as controversial, and how that skill is put into a build and how it's utilized in Guild Wars. Now, one thing to keep in mind though is there's going to be a lot of comments and controversy regarding my advice when it comes to using skills and things like that, and I'm perfectly okay with that. I had a video, it was a while back, it was when I had first started Guild Wars Corner, but there was it was a Guild Wars Academy video. It was on the fundamentals video, and there was a guy, he came back with a constructive comment, but he said, these builds are not optimal, and frankly went to the point saying that this was kind of like dangerous information. It's like, Alex, you're giving newer players bad information here, or bad builds and things like that. It wasn't optimized, and he made a counter video of like, okay, this is what I would do and things like that, when that was not really the point of the video. The point of the video was just to show some of the very basic aspects of using energy and synergy between skills and how you want to develop your build, because I have a unique stance when it comes to Guild Wars, which I think a number of people, particularly veterans, which are a lot of you, about Guild Wars, that they won't agree with. And that is this. To me, it's more important to actually learn how to develop your own build, how to develop your skills, how to synergize your skills in a way that you want. And there's two reasons for this. One is that you really truly learn how to develop your character, your class, and how to use it correctly in the game. And there's a learning curve in this. It's going to be a very long learning curve. That's the nature of Guild Wars. That's the beautiful thing about it. It has a very steep learning curve, and it's very, very rewarding when you can see your build and you make it work. You see what's wrong with it, you can correct it to that situation, and you truly understand your character. This is against the idea, for a new character, they just go to PvXWiki, they find the top meta build, they copy that build, and off they go. That I'm kind of against. I don't mind using PvXWiki. I think it's a good resource. It's a very good resource. You can learn a lot from it. With synergy and things like that. You can also learn what the current meta is. It's good for PvP if you want to know what kind of builds you're going to encounter in PvP, or what kind of builds you want to use in specific sections of PvE. But it leapfrogs that whole learning process, and it just kind of takes you to that end point. I was like, well, Alex, if you're going to get to the end point anyways, why don't you just go there and skip everything in between? Well, because it takes out so much of what makes Guild Wars Guild Wars. It takes out building your deck, building your skills. As a learning process, you start with a very limited number of skills. I don't have all the skills. I'm missing a lot of the Nightfall skills, almost all the Nightfall skills, all the Eye of the North skills I don't have, all the PvE skills from Eye of the North I don't have. So you're seeing skills that at best are what you can get from a normal skill trainer, even factions, prophecies. I have the Sun Spear, and I do have the Luxon PvE skills, but some of those PvE skills also are pretty overpowered. And I have a method of playing the game where I don't want to use certain skills as a crutch, but I can't use them on PvP. I kind of want an even, more even playing field where I can use all the skills that I could use in PvP. I want to use in PvE. You know, and okay, occasionally you'll see Necrosis, the Sunspear skill, or the Kurzik one, but in general, I try to stick with the skills that you can use in PvP as well as in PvE. It's just a preference. It's a preference that how I like to approach the game. You know, maybe later on, as I get to the really difficult part and I really truly get stuck and nothing's working, okay, maybe I'll pull the skills in and make something that will work. But learning how to utilize and create new builds, it's a very rewarding experience, and I don't want to take that rewarding experience out from newer players, and I don't want to lose that rewarding experience either. So when you see my videos, you're going to see a lot of builds. They are terrible. They're going to be not optimized, or they're going to be judged to be terrible from people. But that's what I like to do. I like to make builds, try them out, try something new, try something crazy, and I always like to go through the list, go through all the skills on the list, and see what can be used, how they're useful, where they can be used. And that's the same thing I did with mending. Is okay, where can mending be used, and how to use it. Is it any good? It is good in certain situations. What are those situations? So when you see that situation, you know, hey, mending is a good skill in this situation, i.e. when there's a lot of energy denial, there's a lot of interrupts. I have actually one idea where it'd probably be good. It's a place where there's a lot of interrupts in the game. It's hard mode in the falls with what do they call it? The Wind Riders or something like that, but they have a ton of area denial type of interrupts that can just wipe your party out. It's very, very difficult. So maybe I can use something like that and just, okay, you know, we can't heal anymore, but we can still keep the mending going, and maybe that will work. And that's my idea. And you know, I wouldn't come up with the idea unless I saw what mending did and what it didn't do. And now I can think of a scenario, okay, you know, maybe mending is good here. I mean, I can put it in here and make things work a lot better. So that's one example right there. And that's the process. And that's also not just the process, it's the enjoyment of the game. And it's such a big part of the game. It's what makes the game special. And you know, telling people or for myself, just skipping everything and just going straight to, you know, PvXWiki, it's a good resource, but it just strips so much of what makes the game unique out, basically. And you're frankly running just a normal action RPG with a fixed build, which, you know, kind of takes out most of the game. That's my opinion. I really like Guild Wars, and that's the thing I really love about it. It's just the infinite diversity of builds and trying something new and trying something fun. Sometimes doing something absolutely crazy. You can do kind of a drunk build. You can take, like I said before, you can take a monk and put meteor shower, just something absolutely ridiculous, and see if you can make it work. And it's like, okay, well, you know, put meteor shower, maybe put glyph of lesser energy, and do something smiting, you know, or you know, something along those lines. Why not? You can do anything you want in this game, particularly in PvE. Now, in PvP, when you're actually working with people, in that sense, or you're in a team in PvE, you have to take into account what would be good for the team. Doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to agree or you're just going to strip a build and just build from that, but sometimes they say, hey, you really need to be running this build to make the whole team work. Then you got to conform to what they're doing. But when you're alone, or you're with heroes, or with henchmen, or you're just with friends, and you're just playing through the game, always try to look and see if you can figure out something new, because that is always something special. And that's where a lot of those builds in PvX came from. They came from people who are willing to experiment, willing to try something different, and they came up with this. And it's a good idea. It's a great idea. Yeah, and they post it so everyone can share with it. Doesn't mean it's the only idea, though. And that's why it's always worthwhile to keep looking and just having fun and just experimenting. And that is what makes Guild Wars so great and wonderful as a game, and so unique. As I mentioned before, it's such a unique game, and that is one of the things that makes it unique. That's one of the things I don't want to strip out from any player playing the game, is that uniqueness that makes everyone comes back to Guild Wars. Yeah, the combat is great. The story is pretty good. You know, 'cause there's some stories that are a little weak here and there, but overall, it's quite a good story. It's better than a lot of other ones. Frankly, it's better than Guild Wars 2 in many cases. The prophecy story is very good. Very nice, very good selection of diverse locales, factions. And that's the one story is a little weaker in some parts, but again, it brings a lot of new concepts, a lot of verticality in the environments, some beautiful environments, even though it doesn't have the dynamic range of environments that prophecy does. Nightfall, still working through that. Again, more of a desert theme, but again, a lot of new aspects brought in, heroes, and it has a a good storyline as well. So it's a very unique game. It's a privilege to play this game. It's a privilege to know that this game is still supported. It's still on the server. They're still doing events for this game, and that's what makes Guild Wars so phenomenal. So one thing I've been doing recently is I've actually been starting to spend a little bit of, I don't have a whole lot of money right now, actually very little money right now, but there's a few points. I spent $10 to buy a Zooline storage pane, which I need, because even with just 3 or 4 main characters, I'm running out of storage space real quick, and that's the way you can support the game, and that's one way you can tell Arena, hey, this game is still viable. There's still people playing it. You're still making money in this game. Keep it going, and maybe at some point they'll add a little bit more content to it. So anyways, that's my idea on PvX and builds and what you're going to see in the videos, because this is going to come up a lot. When I do videos, they're going to be looking at the hero skill bar, the my own skill bar, and there's always room for criticism. There's going to be criticism for every single video. I understand that, and that's actually what makes the game unique. And I mentioned, there's always an opinion, there's always criticism, and there's always like, okay, can you do this a little bit better? Because there's such that dynamic range of skills and experience and builds that no build is really perfect. There's builds that are perfect in certain situations, but there's no one absolute build, I should say. You're always free to experiment, and that's what makes it great. So anyways, not to repeat, but it's worth repeating because it is very special. One other thing I'm looking at and doing, I'm not sure yet, is perhaps streaming some Guild Wars, if people would be interested in that. Again, game not streamed a whole lot. I know 2 or 3 people who do. The problem is the time that I stream or would be able to stream. It's at a very, again, as I mentioned before, peculiar time. It'd actually be early in the morning, which of course for my American audience would be everyone is still sleeping, or they're going to work, or they're going to school, or something like that. But for the European audience, however, that would be towards their more normal time, assuming again 6 or 7 hours is actually be around lunchtime for them. Or if you go out even further towards Russia or Central Asia, then you start, okay, maybe around 3 o'clock or so their time. So it's kind of an odd spot. I might try just to see if it works and see what happens, and see if people were interested. I could call it like coffee gaming or something. It's like, hey, this is your early morning stream. You can hear me play or something while you're getting ready for work, while you're getting ready for school, or you just don't feel like getting up, which is pretty much me every single morning, and especially the wonderful woman I live with. She is not a morning person at all. So, but that's another idea I'm really toying with. So anyways, that's my spiel on Guild Wars Corner this week. Trying new things. The skill build video, as a format, I think came out very good. It's got more views than my Guild Wars Corners videos, so I'm looking to do more of those, both the skill build and the Guild Wars videos, and keep things going. So, because I'm really enjoying this game. There's still a ton of content in front of me, which I need to, or would like to, experience and get done. That, for any kind of veteran player that's been playing for years, probably accomplished a long time ago, but it's new for me, and I really want to enjoy that. And there's a whole story behind that. I'll go that in another time, and actually I covered it in a previous video as well, but it's worth repeating, and we'll see how it goes. So everyone, have fun, enjoy the game, or enjoy what you're playing. You got a lot of games out there, and maybe also next time we'll cover some Guild Wars 2. I've been again dipping my toe a little bit of that, although more recently just Guild Wars, and that's it. And we'll go from there. So I'm going to spread out across some more games. Again, it won't just be strictly Guild Wars, but for now, that's what I'm going to focus on. And I hope you guys enjoy it. Okay, good luck, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.